I'm Corinne Yeager.
And I'm Matt Yeager.
And this is our game, Cave Painters of Lascaux.
In Cave Painters of Lascaux, 2 to 5 players travel back 20,000 years to the famous caves of Lascaux, France, and take on the role of one of these Paleolithic artists. There are 4 actions that all revolve around the paintings themselves. The first action is the pigment action, which lets you draw pigment cubes from the bag in order to paint on the paintings. The next action is the light action, which lets you illuminate the wall so that you can paint better and score higher. The next action is the engrave or paint action. If you engrave with it, that lets you take a new painting and put it on your board. If you paint with it, it lets you take a completed painting from your board and put it out on the cave. The final action is the tool action. This lets you gain a tool to use instead of finger painting, which lets you paint more effectively.
So every player's first turn will look exactly like this. Now I will take the pigment action 2 times. For each time I will gain 5 cubes, and I will place the corresponding colors with the shell that they go with. So because I have no painting tile, I'm going to go ahead and choose to engrave, which means pull one of these paintings and place it on my palette. At the end of every player's turn, you will plan your next turn by placing action tokens on whatever action you want to do on your next turn.
When taking the pigment action, player gains 5 cubes for each time that they take the action. After gaining all their cubes, they must fill any swatches that they can. Normally it takes 3 cubes to fill a swatch. These red cubes would not fill that swatch, so they would not go down. When taking the light action, players may move lights twice, either 1 light, 2 spaces, or 2 lights, 1 space. For instance, if I wanted to paint here, I could move 2 lights, 1 space, and 1 light, 2 spaces, taking all 3 actions.
All right, next I have 2 actions on the painting and engraving action, so I'm going to use my first action to paint this because all the swatches are filled. I'm placing the cubes in the bag. And then I'm going to go ahead and get an animal token for this painting and place it on the board where I have my lights ready to go. And I will gain 6 points because I have the 3 lights right there. And now for my second action, I'm going to go ahead and engrave by choosing one of these paintings from the supply and placing it on my palette, gaining the 2 points. And this is the tools action, which allows you to paint more efficiently. So one action allows you to get a brush, which only requires 2 cubes to fill a swatch. All right, I'm going to use my last 2 actions to go ahead and get a tube, which requires 2 actions, and only requires 1 cube to fill a swatch. Even though I have the pigment and the tube, I wouldn't be able to fill these swatches until I take the pigment action the next turn.
With the animal tokens gained from painting, you can use that experience to either paint one of the masterpiece paintings or the menagerie painting. Masterpiece paintings have all the same animal and get you 10 points, and the menagerie painting has one of each animal and gets you 5 points. You should note that the cat token, when not used on the menagerie where specified, is a wild. It can be used in place of any other animal, but it subtracts 2 from the value.
In addition to your 3 normal actions, you have 2 bonus actions, which you can use anytime during your turn. So for instance, if I wanted to take the pigment action again, I could use my bonus action, place it there, and be able to gain more pigment. However, I would move my end game marker down twice in this case. So next, if I want to take the painting and engraving action, I would not be able to place my bonus action on either of the previous actions. It would just have to be on the current one. So in this case, if I were to use it there, I would have to move this down 4.
Players may never take a bonus action if it would move the endgame marker down past their score marker. If a player takes an action that gains them enough points to pass the endgame marker, they still get all of those points, but they cannot score any more points that turn, and the game will end. Each other player will still get 1 more turn. As an example of a turn that ends the game, a player could take the light action, moving the light twice, take it again, move it twice more, then they can take their bonus action, moving this light twice, and their endgame marker down twice. Then they can take the paint action to paint this, reset one of the lights, and gain 6 points, which will end the game. Thank you so much for considering our